Picture this, you're on vacation. A new video drops on your YouTube channel starring your AI clone. It's racking up views, earning ad revenue, and you're just lying in the sun. Sounds unreal? Well, surprise. Everything you've seen so far was made by my AI video clone. Now it's time for the real Samson to show you how to do it yourself.
So I wanted to challenge myself to see how far this technology has come, and could I really replace myself with AI? So let's explore how to make the most realistic clones of ourselves, as well as the possibilities of
creating other gendered clones,
animated clones, and experimental clones. Now, we're going to be using a number of different tools here. I've tried and tested a whole host of different options and selected the ones that I think serve us best. We'll be using HeyGen, 11 Labs, Midjourney, and ChatGPT to create the best possible clones. So let's go ahead and do just that. I'm going to be using HeyGen for this, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can follow along. What you have to do is simply try their new avatar model. Now you can find this on the homepage or in their selection of tools below that. Now this is the most basic and quickest way to build your own clone.
As the video progresses, I'll gradually showcase more advanced, higher quality and experimental approaches.
Now all you need for this is a high quality photo of yourself, preferably looking at the camera in a medium shot, though it does work for other situations as well. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a screenshot of one of my recent videos. Make sure I've bumped up the quality to the highest possible, ultra quality. Then I can go ahead and upload this image. Now what we need is a voice clone, and for that there are a few options. You can make one inside of HeyGen, but I prefer to use a different tool due to the quality, and that is 11 Labs. Now you can try their instant voice clone with only 10 seconds of audio, and I'll show you how to do that. You can simply click on it, make sure you're in a good environment, use a good microphone. Now you can simply record this live, I will do that. Make sure you're selecting your microphone, go ahead and press start. Hello and welcome to this voice clone of my own dulcet tones.
A few moments later.
Once you're done, you can press stop and go ahead and press next. Now you go ahead and name this, select the language, English or le anglais, and add a description. Finally, we can generate speech for that.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind.
And as you can see, in just a moment, it manages to regenerate your own voice. Now, once again, often these AI voice clones, for me in particular, give me an Australian accent. Now, I'm very curious if you think that I have an Australian accent. Do let me know in the comments. Often people think that I'm Dutch or South African, but actually, I'm from Britannia. Now, every time you regenerate the speech, it will give you a slightly different variation. You also have a few options here to speak faster or slower and increase the stability or the similarity. Now, once you're happy, you can download this in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, I also bit the bucket and went ahead and got the professional voice clone from 11 Labs. I paid the fee just so that you can have a listen to it as well. So we will also regenerate this using the professional clone, just so you can see what is the difference between the standard quick version and the professional version.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind. You're not getting replaced by AI, you're replacing yourself with AI.
So that was the professional version, and let's compare that to the quick version. Here's the quick version.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind. You're not getting replaced by AI, you're replacing yourself with AI.
You would say there is a marginal difference there. It certainly does sound a little bit more like me, I would say, but let me know what you think in the comments. Now, once we've got that, we can go back into HeyGen and upload our audio. Now, this takes just a couple of minutes to create. Now, you may have noticed I've had a little costume change, and that's because I want to do a direct comparison of my clone with the real-life version of myself. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we have my clone ready to reveal. Let's take a look at how it did.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind. You're not getting replaced by AI, you're replacing yourself with AI.
And we'll compare that to the real-life version of me. AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind. You're not getting replaced by AI, you're replacing yourself with AI. Okay, so let's just mute those and play them both side by side so we can really pay attention to the visuals. Now, you must say that the AI clone does a pretty decent job at creating realistic hand gestures that match the tone of what I'm performing. However, I would still say that my artful hands have a little bit more personality. Secondly, I certainly maintain more expressiveness and naturalness in my real version. Now, one thing I want to show you that I think is particularly interesting is going halfway, and that is where we use our own voices and apply them to our own video clones. And I truly think this is where the most leverage is available, because you get exceptionally high quality audio and the video is good enough to maintain the believability of the shot. Now, the other huge advantage of this is that if you are simply reading a script, it's much easier to focus entirely on the audio delivery without also having to perform to the camera. So here I'm trying to modulate my voice, add in suggestive and accurate hand gestures to enhance the understanding of what I'm saying. I'm also making sure that I maintain as much eye contact as possible with the camera, and also keeping in mind the distance of myself from the microphone. And all in all, there is a lot of different elements to pay attention to in one go. However, as I demonstrate here, I will simply record the voiceover and then put that onto my clone. And you'll be able to see that I'm able to add a lot more intention and consciousness to my vocal delivery. But whilst this is processing, I do have a genuine question for you, and it is quite important to me, so I would love to hear your honest feedback on this. And that is, how do you feel about creators such as myself using elements that are AI cloned? So if I were to intersplice AI clones of my voice or AI video into my videos, how would you feel about that? And would you want to be told every time it's happening? Would you want to have a disclaimer in the description? Or does it not matter to you at all? Do let me know in the comments. This is something that I am considering a lot right now. And I also think has major implications for how all creators move forward in the world of AI content. So let's take a look at that. AI is changing the world forever. And you can either adapt or get left behind. Now you can see it's pretty good, but I went ahead and made the professional clone available on HeyGen as well, so you can see what are the absolute limits of this technology right now. Now this is a paid feature and you can only create one at a time. And to do that, you have to create quite a difficult video of yourself looking into the camera, maintaining eye contact without moving, but keeping your hands moving in a reasonable way that does not go out of the frame or over the face, as much as I'm trying to do now to demonstrate the abilities of doing that demonstration. So you make that video, you upload it, it trains it on that, and then you're able to have a professional video clone as well. AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind. Now, as you can see, it does a much better job at showcasing my likeness. There is very little morphing here, and also there's very little morphing of the hands. But one thing that this one does fail at is the timing of the hand gestures, that it simply has these looping hand gestures that repeat, and there is very little variety in the types of hand gestures. If you've been using the latest AI tools but feel like something is missing, well, this guide is for you. I've teamed up with HubSpot to bring you their free AI prompt guide. It's practical, clear, with absolutely no fluff, and it's particularly useful across marketing, sales, and content. Inside, you'll get simple frameworks that make prompting easier, real examples that you can plug in and play, tips that actually sharpen your output. So whether you're crafting emails, writing blog posts, or building a new advertising campaign, this guide will help you set your prompts apart from the rest. There's over 1,000 different prompts that will help take your ideas and turn them into ready-to-post content, because one prompt does not fit all. One of my favorite parts is the section on refining tone. Now, this is one of the most important parts about working effectively with AI-generated content. You have to sound like it's not written by AI. So whether you're building an AI workflow or just looking to get better results from ChatGPT, this resource is for you. The link's at the top of the description, and a huge thanks to HubSpot for putting this together. Now, I've got so much more to show you because there's a hell of a lot of different things that we can do to take this even further and bend the possibilities of reality. And one of the interesting things we can do, especially if you want to maintain the privacy of your voice, or if you have a particularly strong accent, maybe you're from... So what we can do is we can come back to 11 Labs and we can use their voice changer feature. And now what we can do is we can upload our audio pop that one in again. And then what we can do is we can change the voice that we have, but maintain the timing, the cadence, the rhythm, and the emotional tonality in our voices. So you can go ahead then and select a voice that you would like to use. I'm going to use Grandpa Spuds Oaksley. Then you go ahead and generate the speech.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind.
AI is changing the world forever. Now, it has a much more deeper and gravelly voice than I personally have. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and make a new avatar that fits this special voice. So let's upload a photo of something a little bit different. I'm going to be using this fair chap here. Now, I'll show you how I made him. I made him in Midjourney, and I will give you all the prompts that I also used in this video so you can have access to those yourself. I'll also leave a selection of these for you already generated that you can use so you can experiment with a few different avatars. So all of those extra resources for creating your own clones are going to be available for free in a link in the description below. And check those out. They're my gift from me to you. Because if you are new here, I'm AI Samson, and on this channel we explore the creative possibilities with AI. So if you are new here, do feel free to subscribe. I would appreciate it. Let's take a look at how these turned out.
AI is changing the world forever, and you can either adapt or get left behind.
And as you can see, the creative possibilities of creating dynamic, diverse avatars is absolutely infinite. But there is something else that I think is creatively exciting that I would love to share with you. And that's also creating animated versions of ourselves. So here I've generated a Pixar style image of myself and also a more quirky one. Now to create these, I made the first one in Midjourney, this very quirky guy, and this was the prompt that I used. And simply I described myself in as much detail as possible and generated him inside of Midjourney. I'm also going to leave a collection of these different Pixar variations for you to try out as well. Now, the other thing you can do is do it in ChatGPT, and that's because ChatGPT has a much better multimodal understanding, meaning that it's able to maintain the likeness of images and simply adjust the contents more easily. And for that, I used this prompt and simply started a new chat, popped in the prompt, and then added in my image. So let's do it with a slightly different one. Now, there's something about this approach that I quite like, the idea of creating an obviously AI-generated version of ourselves to communicate on our behalf. And whereas it maintains the likeness of us, it adds a playful lightness. And although it sounds like us and can represent our brand, it's not actually us. And what I particularly think is great about this is that it's obviously AI generated. And so there is like a clear communication to the audience that this is a piece of content that has been AI generated. Well, the lighting actually looks even better in the in the Pixar version. Maybe I should adjust my lights a little bit. Okay, we got a little bit warmer there. Let's see if this feels a little bit more cinematic to you. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that ChatGPT creates the most ridiculous aspect ratios, and it doesn't allow you to create a 16:9 natively inside. So what I recommend doing is taking the image, putting it into a tool like Figma, and then making sure that you cover an entire 1920 by 1080 frame. You can then export that by going to the sidebar here and pressing export. However, there is an even better solution, and that's using Midjourney's expand feature. So what you can do is come to Midjourney, come down to the edit tab, and from here you go to edit uploaded image and then select the image. Next up, what you can do is go to the Move Resize tab, and from here you select the aspect ratio, and that's where we want 16:9. It will then add the extra parts to the edge, and you can go ahead and submit edit. You can put in a basic prompt here just for it to continue the vibe of what you already have in your image. Then when you're happy, you can go to Download Image, and from here we'll pop ourselves back inside of HeyGen. Now we'll go to Create with the avatar again. We'll upload our new image of ourselves, and we can upload a audio recording. I'll make a brand new one for this demonstration. Pop our lovely little audio inside, go to Add Audio, and generate the video. Now let's take a look at how that came out. Now, this is me as an animated Pixar character. Everything I've ever dreamed of being. My life is complete. I've entered the world of Pixar. Come with me on magical adventures into the world of AI. I have to say, this is one of my favorite editions of this technology. Super interesting and exciting. But I have another experiment to show you, and this one is subtly starting to test the boundaries of ethics and possibility. And that is to create a female version of yourself if you are male, or a male version of yourself if you are female. Or if you're a goat, you can create a raccoon version of yourself. So to do this, we have a special prompt that we use inside of ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is certainly the best to use here. Now, what I've gone for here is I was trying to make a version of myself that looks or feels in some way similar to me, almost a gender swapping clone. So maintaining my general vibe and aesthetic, but transforming me into a lady. So to do this, what we have to do is come into ChatGPT, and I will make a new version of this to show you. And we're going to create our image by uploading a image of ourselves and then adding in the following prompt. And it's essentially informing ChatGPT to transform this image of me into a feminine version, keeping the exact same composition, lighting, pose, and background. The woman should have the same skin tone and hair color as me, but with long, voluptuous, golden brown hair. Preserve my facial structure and overall likeness. Now you can go ahead and pop this in the old chatty. Sit back and relax as AI gives us a little bit of gender surgery. Now, I ran into a little issue with this one, but I love to show you some of the things that go wrong in these videos so that if they happen to you, you also can see and understand. So I don't just give you the highlight reel. And this turned me into a Pixar version of a woman. And that was purely because that's what we've been talking about in this conversation so far. So ChatGPT took the context of this conversation. Now, if you put the exact same prompt into a new chat, it doesn't do that. So one thing to remember is that if your prompt isn't working, it's often because of the context that you have already in your chat. It's also remarkable to me that ChatGPT often defaults to creating square images. And it seems that that is the least useful aspect ratio to create an image in. Like, either make it in vertical format or in horizontal format. So I will just tell it to make me a landscape. Now, there I am as a lady, a little bit masculine, but not too much. Now, it does remind me of this fantastic video that I remember seeing of when face filters were all the rage for changing your gender. Just take a look at this.
Oh my God, Christina, you are one hot looking man. Oh my God, are you freaking kidding me right now? That's awesome. Get that. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Get that off. That's disgusting.
Oh, this is absolutely hilarious to me. They say if you are not attracted to the opposite gender version of yourself, that you should probably lower your standards. So how do I feel about myself here? I think I have a little bit of a long horse face. Kind eyes, though. Kind eyes. Okay, enough of that. So this was another version that I made of myself earlier on as well, and using the black background setup that I use when I'm traveling. Now, another little fun detour that we're just going to take quickly before creating this is that one thing you can do with ChatGPT is you can simply ask it to enhance an element of an image. You can say, make me more beautiful, and then it will add that in. So I did this on my previous image, and then I asked it to improve me, and then I became slightly more attractive. And I said, don't stop there, darling. Let's take this to the next level. I want to be a sexy goddess. And here I am, now enhancing. My lips are getting bigger, my smile more invitational, and my hair more voluptuous. And I said, well, why stop now? Let's take it to the limits of attractiveness. I want to be the most sensational goddess you've ever seen. And then it starts to turn me into something a little bit more doll-like. You can start to see the over-perfection of this image coming in. But that, of course, is just a little bit of fun detouring. So let's go ahead and make the female version of myself. So there is a couple of interesting things about this, because we can go ahead again into HeyGen, try the avatar, upload our little image. I will use the slightly more beautiful version of myself, upload that. And now here's the clever bit, is that we can use 11 Labs to change our voice into a female. So it's exactly the same process, but we just come to the voice changer and find a nice feminine voice. So let's find a good one here. Let's try Hermione. So you can upload your audio file again and simply generate the speech. Hello, this is Samantha at your service. I'm your AI guide for the future and for the present and for the past.
Hello, this is Samantha at your service. I'm your AI guide for the future and for the present and for the past.
I sound a little bit ridiculous as a woman, but let's go with it. So upload the audio, and again, simply all we have to do is press the old generate video button. And here is how that came out.
Hello, this is Samantha at your service. I'm your AI guide for the future and for the present and for the past.
Okay, so now we have a female clone, an animated clone, a real clone. What other types of clones could we have? That's the question. But what's remarkable about this is just how much the technology is advancing. I tried this out a couple of years ago, and at that time, this was the limit of AI cloning technology. So as you can see, we have come on leaps and bounds, and this is only going to improve in the future. And what we can do now is really consider what are the implications of this, how can we use them, and what is the strategy of AI-generated clones and AI-generated content. Now, if you are interested in diving deeper into the rabbit hole of AI content creation, I have an entire course on creating an AI influencer. And in this, we break everything down into much more detail. We really consider the strategy of creating a digital persona online, and then we go through and create all of the elements needed to create a professional piece of digital real estate, as well as exploring how we can create digital products to then associate with our avatar and sell those to be able to create revenue online. Because the key thing here is that it's not just about generating AI content. It's thinking about how does that fit into a larger business model that allows us to monetize this. And because you have made it to the end of this video and you've given me your attention, I'd like to offer you a discount for being here. And you can use the code subscriber20 at checkout to get 20% off of the course. I leave a link to that in the description below. But what do you think about AI avatars? Is this cool or is it creepy? We are entering a new age of futurism, and I, for one, am both very excited and slightly nervous. Now, if you are interested in other interesting ways to monetize the AI revolution, check out this video next, where I'll go through some very unexpected business models that you could start today to create with AI. But most of all, I want to say thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and I wish you a delightful day.